Here's a picture of Jerry Banks. So who is Jerry Banks? Well, he's being accused of murdering somebody. He used to be the jailer at Costilla County Sheriff's Office in 2017. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So Jerry Banks, he's 34 years of age. He's from Fort Garland, and he's been arrested on federal kidnapping charges. 13 investigators confirmed that Banks was a detention officer with the Costilla County Sheriff's Office in 2017. The kidnapping charges are tied to the murder for hire of Gregory Davis of Vermont in January 2018. Wow. So he was a jailer in the Costilla County Sheriff's Office in 2017, and then apparently he's being accused of killing Gregory Davis of Vermont in January 2018. He just either got out of the jail or maybe he still had the job at the jail. That's like extremely weird. Isn't that extremely weird? How come a police officer is going around doing these murder for hire? I mean, my God, are the police, are they that stupid? Are they that terrible? They can't tell a good man from a bad man? Federal prosecutors allege that Jerry Banks was hired by multiple men to kidnap and kill Gregory Davis. Those men, Serhat, Gumrukcu, and Berk, Eratay, allegedly had oil business dealings with Davis. They believe Davis was killed because he claimed the men were defrauding him of thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. January 7th, 2018, Gregory Davis was found around 15 miles from his Danville, Vermont home. What? Oh, okay. When detectives spoke with Davis's wife, they learned that a man dressed as a U.S. Marshal had arrived at their home the night prior and told Davis he had a warrant for his arrest. Davis left with the man and was found shot and killed the next day. Wow, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Somebody just claims to be a police officer and says, hey, got a warrant for your arrest. What? Yep, manufacturing meth. Get the fuck out of here. Detectives tracked Banks' whereabouts in the days prior to Davis's death through multiple phone purchases. Banks used one phone to call 911 the night Davis was allegedly kidnapped from his home. That phone was purchased by Banks on January 5th at a Walmart in Clearfield, Pennsylvania. Prosecutors said another phone, according to the prosecutors, was purchased in November 2017 in Oak Grove, Missouri. The phone was then pinged in Monte Vista, Colorado in late December. Then it was tracked through cell phone towers in Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Massachusetts, and Vermont from January 3rd to January 5th before pinging in Danville, Vermont on January 6th. The alleged 911 call was from in and around Davis's home around 15 minutes before Banks had arrived. Prosecutors say the reporting party told 911 operators that he had shot his wife and was going to shoot himself. Detectives allege that it was Banks who made the phone call to help facilitate the victim's kidnapping and murder. Wow, so Jerry Banks, how did he learn all this stuff? How did he learn it from the jail? And then not only do I want to know who is the sheriff of Costilla County in 2017, who is the chief judge, who were the 3 county commissioners, how many people was walking around this fucking, my God, I mean, I bet you this guy doesn't have, he's not, detectives allege, it's crazy how cops identify with fascists. It's crazy how cops identify with criminals. It is insane. It is insane. Prosecutors say the reporting party told 911 operators that he shot his wife. He was going to shoot himself. So I don't know where this damn Jerry Banks of Fort Garland learned all his tricks. But apparently he's going to call 911. He's going to go all the way to Vermont from Colorado. And then when he gets to Vermont, he's going to call 911. And then, don't they have a tape of that? Shouldn't there be a 911 tape of that? And he said that Gregory Davis had shot his wife. So basically, he was swatting him. He had swatted him. And then he goes in there to arrest him. I don't know really what that might have been how he messed up, because he basically told the authorities that something was going down. that he had shot his wife and then he was going to shoot himself. Oh my God. Maybe that was the point. He says you're under arrest, and then, they left, but maybe that's what he was going to do. Maybe he was going to shoot his wife and then put the gun in the guy's hand and make it look like it was him that had done it. On January 8th, federal prosecutors say that Jerry Banks, it's also crazy how the two people they're gonna pay this guy all this money, and if you're willing to pay some guy all that money, it seems like you're kind of already putting your neck all the way out there. He shot his wife. Let's see, January 8th, federal prosecutors say that Jerry Banks allegedly shot and killed Gregory Davis. Okay. Jerry Banks was stopped by police officers along a highway of Alma, Kansas. Police say Jerry Banks was driving a white Ford Explorer with multiple items, including a gun, tactical vest, and law enforcement equipment with a mattress located in the back of the vehicle. Detectives were able to track a $4,500 purchase for the Ford Explorer, an Amazon purchase of a public safety scanner, and a PayPal purchase for an antique gold U.S. Marshal badge, shoulder patch, and embroidery patch, all tracked back to Banks, Gregory Banks. Then in December 2017, they tracked purchases of a police spotlight, handcuffs, and automotive parts that could be used to make a silencer back to an email address belonging to Banks. Banks also purchased 2 body army jackets, according to the arrest documents. Prosecutors say Banks unlawfully seized, confined, inveigled, decoyed, kidnapped, abducted, inveigled. That is not English. Well, he inveigled. He inveigled the goods. So he's got to go to jail. Persuade someone to do something by means of deception or flattery. You inveigled me. Deception is okay. Or no, it's not okay. Flattery that's okay, I think. Hey, look how handsome you are in that suit. You think I look handsome in this suit? When Gregory Banks traveled in interstate commerce and used a facility or instrumentality of interstate commerce in committing and in furtherance of the commission of the offense, prosecutors have not charged Gregory Banks with murder, but they have stated in a press release the following: the complaint affidavit contains allegations that Gregory Banks murdered Gregory Banks. God damn it. Jerry Banks killed Gregory Davis. You know what's so messed up is, like, later on people say, wait a second. Did Gregory Davis kill Jerry Banks? No, Jerry Banks killed Gregory Davis. And it's Jerry. Jerry's the killer. Gregory is the victim. Jerry Banks has pleaded not guilty to the allegations. He's being held in Vermont, and it's been ordered that Banks be prosecuted in Vermont as well. I have an article pulled up here, so let's read this article too. FBI defendant in 2018 Danville kidnapping was hired for murder. Why do they keep saying it's a kidnapping? Yeah, he kidnapped him and then he killed him. Jerry Banks was arrested while working at Yellowstone National Park. What? So he's working in Colorado. He's buying all this shit. He goes to Yellowstone to work up there, goes to Vermont, does something, and they say they find the body, like, right after they arrest him, which, where did he put the body? Is it at Yellowstone? He carried it from Vermont to Yellowstone? A federal judge in Wyoming has ordered a man accused in a 2018 kidnapping and murder for hire scheme to be sent to Vermont to answer the charge. Jerry Banks of Fort Garland, Colorado, is charged in federal court in Rutland with kidnapping Gregory Davis, 49, from his home in Danville on January 6, 2018. The following day, Davis's body was found in a snowbank off a road in Barnett, several miles from his house. Authorities said he'd been handcuffed and shot in the head and torso. Damn. Off a road in Barnett, several miles from his house. Off a road in Barnett. Authorities said he'd been handcuffed and shot in the head and torso. Jerry Banks, 34 years of age, This is Costilla County's finest had not been charged with killing Davis, but a criminal complaint filed in the kidnapping case, which describes the authorities' reasoning for the charge, alleges that Banks had killed Davis for money. FBI Special Agent Patrick Hanna wrote the statement in support of the charge, says he believes Banks was paid to kidnap and murder Gregory Davis because police couldn't find a personal connection between the two men. The FBI agent said that in the fall of 2017, interesting, Jerry Banks was making less than $500 a week working for Colorado's Costilla County Sheriff. Yet he put down a $4,500 down payment in cash for an SUV in October 2017 and placed at least $15,000 in cash on a debit card between November 2017 and the first half of 2018. Hanna didn't say who police believe Banks, who they believe paid Banks or mastermind the alleged, but KRDO, they know. They says it's Serhat Gumrukcu and Berk Eratay. Accidentally clicked on something there. Is it going to go straight back to the thing? Let's just read from the bottom up. Okay. Chief Magistrate Judge Kelly Rankin ordered the U.S. Marshal Services to immediately transport Jerry Banks to Vermont, where he would be officially charged in court. It wasn't clear as of Tuesday when he would appear in Vermont court on Tuesday afternoon. Jerry Banks appeared by video link before a federal magistrate in Cheyenne, Wyoming. He waived his scheduled detention and preliminary hearings, opting to hold them in the U.S. District Court in Vermont. He was represented by a public defender. If he waived his preliminary hearing, oh my God, you could ask all the questions at the preliminary hearing. If convicted, if you're innocent, that would be good. If convicted of the kidnapping charge, he faces a penalty of up to life in prison. Authorities said they also obtained records that showed that days before he kidnapped Davis, Banks supposedly bought a marshal's badge, marshal's patches, and some other items used in the kidnapping. Surveillance images from the store allegedly showed Banks buying the phone he used to call 911 minutes before kidnapping Davis and driving a Ford Explorer in which he was seen around the time of the kidnapping. Police said that this is the same SUV he bought in October 2017. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Vermont said investigators tracked Jerry Banks' movements through 2 cell phones, including one that connected to cell towers near Danville when Davis was kidnapped, and earlier near a Pennsylvania Walmart when Banks went to buy another phone. Federal prosecutors earlier said an exhaustive... they were on this fucking guy. They were on this guy big time. Federal prosecutors earlier said an exhaustive investigation by the FBI and Vermont State Police led to Banks' arrest on Wednesday in Yellowstone National Park where he was working. He has since been detained. U.S. Marshal Services also said that they did not arrest Davis and they did not have any active arrest warrants for him. So, a couple comments. I do want to know who was in charge at the time. You had this murder for hire piece of shit. You had a mercenary. You had a piece of shit that you were paying $500 a week. And then he was taking that little bit of money. And I don't know if he was just saving up. He could just been But I want to know who were the 3 county commissioners at the time. Who was the county judge and the sheriff and the chief judge and the sheriff and the... Yeah, I want to know who was running Costilla County at the time. Was it Gonzalez, Mike Gonzalez? Was it Kimberly Wood? Was Kimberly Wood the county judge at the time? Was Mike Gonzalez the chief judge, the sheriff? I don't think it was Danny Sanchez. Who was before Danny Sanchez? Who was the 3 county commissioners? That's it's 2017. Head to. Hey, you! Damn it. So it's before this term, but nobody knows? Nobody knows who was running Costilla County? Yeah, I bet you the assholes that was running, I bet, the county judge and the chief judge, they make $200,000 every year. $200,000 every year in Costilla County. Not only does Costilla County still have Nazis today, But Costilla County has all the goddamn crime. Every crime that you could think of happens in Costilla County. And it happened in just the last couple of years. There's been serial killers over there. There's been poachers. There's child abusers. There's puppy mill owners. There's arsonists and poachers and serial killers, child abusers, puppy mill owners. My God, just lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. Just think of a damn crime, and they have done it in Costilla County. They've done it in Costilla County, especially by the Labata Bridge. So you got a lot of poor people in Costilla County. I bet you they need some of that cheap land, but instead of getting the poor people of Costilla County some of that cheap land so they could develop themselves, instead they sell that cheap land to a bunch of fucking terrorist criminal motherfuckers. And if you're a lawful person, if you go to planning and zoning and you pay for all your permits, they'll fuck you over. Every single person. Planning and zoning will fuck you over. The Nazis will fuck you over. Whatever the Bloods, Crips, MS-13, any of the gang-affiliated members. And basically, the way you survive in Costilla County is not being a lawful person. If you go in there being a vulnerable, lawful person, they'll murder your dog. They'll do drive-by shootings. And, they'll do all this other shit that they've been doing too. So, Costilla County, there's Nazis in Costilla County. They showed me dozens and dozens of times that they're willing to commit crimes, and the police officers there don't give a goddamn flying fuck. The county judge, the chief judge, none of them, the sheriff, none of them give a flying fuck about the crimes that are happening in Costilla County. So, hell, maybe they hired Jerry Banks because that's exactly who they are. Maybe that's why they, hired Jerry Banks in Costilla County. And I already mentioned this before, but how come cops and fascists, how come criminals and cops are just, the same motherfucking people? The same motherfucking people. You know what the kind of neighbors I want? The lawful pushovers. The lawful pushovers. The weak people that, don't fuck people over, but get fucked over. Yeah, it might look strong. It might not look like the all great and courageous, but they're salt of the earth people. And if they want to go get a job and they want to make something of themselves, the meek inherit the earth because of this. That's why the meek inherit the earth, because you're going to have people that's going to say, nah, you can't fuck with that meek person. Nah, he gets to go to a job, make some money, come back, and he gets to stay right there and be safe. That's the kind of neighborhood I want. A bunch of moral, good people, good, lawful people who give a damn. So, but apparently the way that, I don't know if they're attracting them. I don't know if they're in cahoots. I don't know if they're incompetent. But there's a lot of fucking crime. And I'm the only person that seems like, I'm the only one saying anything about the Costilla County. But there was the victims' rights thing. So the DA, Alonzo Payne, doesn't seem to give a damn about the rights of victims either. He don't seem to give a damn about the rights of victims either. What is the point of having all these people and they don't protect the rights of victims? Meanwhile, they'll hire a fucking mercenary, I don't know if it's a serial killer. How many times has this 34-year-old Jerry Banks done this? Anyways, I'm glad that they arrested him, and maybe this Gregory Davis of Vermont will get some justice. And let's look into Serhat, Gumrukcu, and Berk, Eratay. Fucking motherfuckers. You can't do your own damn dirty work, motherfuckers. But they're the top people. People usually say, nah, don't go after the small fries. Go after the people at the top. Those are the people at the top. They're the ones flashing all that money around. Maybe they, turned Jerry Banks into a cold-blooded killer. Maybe it was in his nature. Maybe that was his job. Maybe they turned him into one. I don't know. This is an interesting story. But, once again, the puppy mill, Alonzo Payne didn't do shit about the puppy mill. Alonzo Payne just got in there, right? A lot of those crimes that had happened, the poaching and the child abuse and the serial killing 2020, I think he just got in there, or maybe that was close. That was only, but even if you weren't in power at the time, you could still, respect victims' rights today. What is the point of the whole criminal justice system if we don't defend victims' rights? That's the whole point.